All right, we're back. Another day of NBA, another day of reactions, as we like to do it. 2 games on today, both. Second game was good. Second game was really on the edge of your seat sort of stuff with the Mavericks and the Thunder. Whereas with the Cavs and the Boston Celtics, it was a bit of an eye-opener. The Boston Celtics, for whatever reason, cannot seem to be winning Game 2s at the moment. As we all know, they did it last series against Miami. They dropped Game 2 at home because we know, Boston have the best record in the whole league, so they're going to have home court advantage no matter who they play. They lost Game 2 again. Did it with Miami, now did it with the Cavs. Big hats off to the Cavs. Before I really go into the negatives with Boston for this game, it's a big positive for the Cavs. Today, they actually played team basketball. For majority of the Orlando series and for Game 1, from what I watched of the Cavaliers games, it was on offense, it was give Donovan Mitchell the ball, and he would either attack or he would go for a step-back jump shot. He attacked the basket more often than not and went for, some crazy up and around and some crazy off-balance layup, and he was the entire amount of scoring. He, for the majority of this playoff so far, has been their whole offense, and he hasn't necessarily tried to find anyone. He has found people, but at the same time, I don't blame him for not trying to find people because there's people on his team that have not been performing to the caliber that they would like to be in the playoffs. Max Strus has been very on and off with his shooting, considering that's why they brought him in. Darius Garland isn't quite looking like the all-star we hope him to be during these games. He had a solid game today, but an all-star level game so far. Karis LeVert had a huge game. He has had his best game of the playoffs so far. He just found his spots today and drained them when they needed to. And biggest one for me out of everyone today was Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley did absolutely everything on the court. He was deterring at the rim like he always does. We all know he's a high caliber defender and he's going to continue to do that down the next 3 or 4 years, and I expect him very soon to be making a push for Defense Player of the Year provided he's healthy. Was getting in passing lanes. He was scoring the ball, actually looking at the ring to try and score the ball, which for a lot of defensive-minded big men nowadays is hard to do. Trying to get them to actually focus on the ring and give themselves a presence. He was a lob threat for both of the 2 guards. He was finding passes. He was, getting passes in the pocket and dishing it out to the extra person on the wing. He was just doing absolutely everything. I can't praise him enough today. He played absolutely phenomenally. Donovan Mitchell had another good game, but for the most part here, it was a team performance, and that is all I've wanted from the Cavaliers since the start of this playoffs is a team performance. And we got that today, and look where it led them. They blew out arguably the best team in the world right now. So if they can continue to play as a team for the majority of this series, I still don't see them winning it. But who knows? They just won at the TD Garden, which we know regular season TD Garden was a whole nother animal. I think they lost 4 games in that building all year. And to this point in the playoffs, they've already lost 2. So who knows what could happen with that? They just need to continue to play team ball. I can't stress it enough. That's really my main point of view with them, is that if they just fall back into that, give Donovan the ball and let Donovan, control everything offensively, it really just ruins the flow of the team. No one can find any sort of momentum outside of Donovan, and they don't win games, as we saw. Donovan had a 50-piece last series against Orlando in a loss because none of the rest of the team wanted to contribute, because it was give Donovan the ball and get out of the way. As for the Celtics, bit of a tough one tonight. They just looked a little stagnant. Jason Tatum was scoring, Jaylen Brown was scoring like they usually do, but outside of that, their role players, Derek White had a pretty rough night shooting from the field, and from what we've seen from Boston as of recently is relying on Derek White's shooting is a big thing for them. No Kristaps at the moment, obviously, so, they're not a full-strength team. Neither is Jared Allen on the Cavs, I suppose. They just, they need to find get back into their groove. They only lost one game. They lost game 2 against the Heat last series, and they went to win it in 5. So I'm not really too worried about the Celtics right now. I'm sure they're going to bounce back. Going to, I forget what the arena's called. I think Scotiabank, or is it Quicken? I'm not sure. The Cavs Arena, going back to Cleveland. It'll be good. If Cleveland can actually win a game at home and make it 2-2, then it starts to get interesting. But for the Cavs to go out and win one on the road, which they failed to do last series, is huge. As for the second game, big game. They're, 2 upsets today, 2 home court losses. Have not seen that, I don't think, all playoffs. The Dallas Mavericks pull one out against the number 1 seed OKC Thunder when Kyrie Irving had 9 points. How I don't know how, it just doesn't, it doesn't comprehend in my head realistically. Luka came out with that knee injury like he was, he was labouring with it in game 1. It wasn't looking too good. Everyone was starting to ask questions. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be ready? He come out tonight and put on a Luka Doncic type performance. The scoring wasn't as high as a lot of people, sometimes hope Luka does for his scoring. But he did all the other things like he usually does. He was actually attacking the glass and getting rebounds. He was passing the ball. He's starting to make an effort on defense, which I think for me and Luka Doncic is the biggest thing for me. He's starting to actually make an effort on defense, and it is changing the whole aspect of the team. They're starting, they were saying on the broadcast last series that they're starting to get looked at as a defensive team. When a year and a half ago, when Kyrie just came into the team, they were getting clowned, saying that their perimeter defense is awful, it's this and that, and they're not going to be able to defend anyone on the perimeter. It is a huge help. I will say it is a huge help. Their front office bringing Daniel Gafford and Derek Jones in, they've been phenomenal. Derek Jones, I've been so high on Derek Jones for so long. He's just a great player. He's athletic. He commits. He does everything you want him to do. He's one of those sort of players. And for him to finally get a good chance with a good team is great for me. He's not folding under the bright lights. He is playing as good as he should under this sort of conditions. Other than that, PJ Washington, I got to give my hat off to you. Played great today. 7 threes. It seemed like every time he caught the ball, just shot it, went in. So it was that type of night for PJ. He really covered for Kyrie tonight. Played as well as Kyrie has most of this, playoffs so far. So for PJ to hold down the fort and get a huge win on the road, that's, OKC's first loss of the postseason is crazy. But as for OKC, once again, sort of like Boston, I'm not too worried about them just yet. They're, we're 6 games in and they're the youngest team in the whole playoffs and they're the last ones to lose a game. I'm not worried about them. Young teams are going to have losses because they're not going to be perfect. They're still got so much to learn. The IQ side of basketball and all of that. They're going to rally together. I think they might take one in Dallas. I don't see them going into Dallas and losing 2 straight games and going 3-1 because for how young they are such a mature team. And they just know what they're doing. They know each other. They know their personnel. Their chemistry is through the roof. As I said, I'm not worried about them. They're going to bounce back. It's just a matter of when. I think Dallas just need to continue to do what they're doing. Kyrie needs to obviously pick up next game, which I have no doubt he will. And Luka, just keep doing you, Luka. Just don't try and do too much because I think that's sort of what Luka did in game 1. Although he was injured, he tried to do more than he was capable of, and it ended up hurting them in the end. Dallas take this one 119 to 110. And that's the day wrapped. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, another recap video. Sorry to you Knicks fans, missed the game yesterday. Well, I watched the game, but I didn't get a video out. Knicks are playing some great basketball. Jalen Brunson is a superstar in my opinion. He come out in the second half and did absolutely everything the team needed from him. But that's a story to another day. Sort of in other news right now, Frank Vogel, as I'm just recording this, has just been fired from his job at the Phoenix Suns. So the Phoenix Suns are now looking for their third head coach in 3 years. I don't know, still to this day, I don't know why they got rid of Monty Williams. He was a good coach for them, and we all know, Frank Vogel was supposedly this superstar coach that was good at dealing with great players and that sort of thing. But for them to just, get rid of one of the coaches that led them to a 65-win season and to the NBA Finals, just for him 2 years later to get sacked and then put in this new guy who is now gone out the door as well. I don't know what's going on. Coaches just need to stop getting blamed. We're well past that now, I think, where coaching isn't the be-all and end-all of basketball. There is still 5 players out on the court. That's a story for another day. I'm not going to get into that. That's too much. It's a recap video, so we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with another video. Actually, I'm away this weekend, so you won't get any videos for the next couple of days, unfortunately. But I'll be back in a couple of days very soon. Get another recap out. Enjoy basketball while I'm gone. Enjoy it, watch it, take it all in, and I will see you guys tomorrow.